Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Chair of the University of Illinois Foundation Board of Directors, Greg Likens.
It's time to begin. Welcome. On behalf of the University of Illinois Foundation Board of Directors, I welcome you to the 82nd Annual Foundation Business Meeting. Thank you for joining us, and whether you are here in person or on the World Wide Web on our live webcast, your engagement is really appreciated. Hopefully you will enjoy this evening. My job is to kick off the business meeting here, and then we're going to hear from some very interesting folks after I move through some administration. Everyone here in this room is committed to advancing the University of Illinois system and its mission to transform lives and serve society by educating, creating knowledge, and putting knowledge to work on a large scale and with extraordinary excellence. Through your philanthropy, you are an ever more important stakeholder in this whole enterprise, this whole organization. And on behalf of the University of Illinois Foundation, a partner to the whole enterprise, I want to thank you for all you do. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. The term of board chair is 2 years. It's hard to believe, but today marks my last official act as chair of the University of Illinois Foundation Board of Directors. It's been an incredible honor to serve as chair of this fine board, and candidly, the 2 years have really flown by. I quickly reflect and want to assure you, from my increasing knowledge of the foundation through my involvement, that the foundation that supports the University of Illinois system is in excellent shape. You'll hear more about this evening. It's extraordinarily well managed and governed, with Jim Moore, our fine CEO at the helm, supported by a team of truly remarkable, dedicated, passionate professionals, and dedicated board of directors. The board of directors, to a person, are selfless, dedicated, wonderful people who devote lots of resources, not only their time, but their financial resources and their influence into the betterment of our university system. They love this university, and so do I. Moving on, I continue to be a grateful and diehard Illini, and I sure hope to continue my evangelism for this incredible organization, the University of Illinois. It's been a true privilege for me to serve my alma mater, all it stands for, and all it does, and all it will be doing, and the University of Illinois system in this capacity. I'd like to offer a special thank you to the current fellow governing board of directors. They realize their important governance responsibility, more important than ever in these days. And this group of tireless volunteers takes the role of fiduciaries with true responsibility for this 501c3 public charity with an incredible sense of care. I'm continually impressed with their integrity and their commitment to both the university and to each of you and us as philanthropic investors. There's another group that is related to the governing directors that I would like to thank, and those are our foundation life directors. The life directors previously served on the board of directors, and because they perform with distinction, the board designates these folks, if under that judgment, as life directors, and they can continue to offer their advice and insight to the board and management of the foundation. Could you please join me in thanking all of these important volunteer leaders, fellow governing directors and life directors? Would you please stand? And the lights are up, please. Thank you. As a group and as a body, we have spent recent years carefully reviewing our governance structure. Governance is incredibly important. Structure is important to assure governance will work. We do this to assure our future success. One of our initiatives was to carefully review our bylaws and our membership model. Many of you join us this evening as foundation members. Foundation members are a group of highly invested, highly committed donor champions who not only understand the important role of the foundation, but also continue to be willing to learn more about this incredible place, to learn more about the philanthropic needs and goals of this system. Together, we foundation members number nearly 1,000. I would like each of you to continue to encourage others to join us as we work together on behalf of the University of Illinois. And we're going to learn more and more ways to do that. For those of you in the room this evening who are foundation members, would you please stand so we can recognize you and your great commitment to our organization. We had board meetings today from 7:30 a.m. until a little after 4, and we covered quite a bit of territory, as we usually do. I'd like to share with you some of our board business from earlier today. One of our key actions, and one of our very important actions taken today, was the unanimous election of a new University of Illinois Foundation director, Don Belinsky. Don, would you please stand? There he is. Why don't you remain standing for a moment while I describe your incredible background. Don is a 1971 graduate of the University of Illinois at Chicago College of Business. He spent 29 years at a remarkable firm, W.W. Grainger, rising to the top, and is currently serving as managing partner of SMB Operating Partners. He's highly involved within the UIC College of Business and publicly often credits and believes, of course, that UIC made a major contribution to the foundation he needed to build his incredible career in the business world. His work ethic is tremendous. His desire to pay it forward is to be commended as he joins a board whose focus is to share time and talents and resources for the betterment of the university system. Don, thank you for joining the board. Another action that was approved at today's board meeting, the transition of the board chair role to Mr. Alan Feldman. Alan holds both his bachelor's degree in marketing and a master's degree in business administration from the University of Illinois, right here in Urbana-Champaign. Alan served as chairman of Midas, Inc., as in Midas Mufflers, from 2006 to 2012, and prior to that held senior management posts at McDonald's Corporation, which including serving as president and chief operating officer of McDonald's Americas and president of McDonald's USA. Alan continues to be extremely busy. He currently serves on the board of directors of Foot Locker, GNC Holdings, and John Bean Technologies Corporation, as well as an advisory board member for Shields Mentally Partners and a governing council member of the Advocate Good Samaritan Hospital. As you can see, Alan is obviously a highly respected, experienced leader with a true dedication to help others. We're so grateful for his willingness, I am grateful for his willingness, to step into this leadership role for our university and our foundation. Alan, please stand. His wonderful wife, Deb, is a terrific partner as well. Okay, I assure you, we could introduce lots of folks with incredible talents and passion for the University of Illinois, but I think we should move on now to some really interesting information about our foundation. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, University of Illinois Foundation President and Chief Executive Officer James Moore, also known as Jim. He's a seasoned and highly respected fundraising and development professional. He's known throughout the country in his leadership. Jim and his wonderful wife Shelley and his terrific family joined us in July of 2015, just prior to me taking on the chairman's role. So we have grown together in this situation. He has taught me lots. Jim's been a blessing to our organization, the board, his fellow associates, and certainly to me. During these past 2+ years, I've been up close and personal watching how quickly Jim has integrated into the University of Illinois family. He's brought great stability, great counsel, and he is truly an effective leader. Under Jim's leadership and with the support of the board, I and the rest of the board couldn't be more excited about the direction the foundation is heading as we passionately pursue further greatness on the behalf of the university. Please welcome me and please join me in welcoming Jim to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg, and don't go too far away here. Thank you, obviously, for that kind introduction, and certainly good evening to everyone. We do have a full program tonight, but I want to add my thanks before we go any further to Greg for everything that he's done, certainly in the last 2 years as our chair of our board. Greg's not only been chair of our board, he's been a friend and a counselor, not just to me, but our entire team. We can't really thank Greg enough for his time and his insights and his steady hand that he has provided over the last 2 years as we've really dealt with all manner of challenges and some great opportunities. This was probably one of the most challenging years in recent University of Illinois history, and Greg led us through a lot of that from our perspective as a foundation. He led us through a state budget crisis, a complete governance review, as you just heard. He onboarded 6 new directors. We went through a number of campaign readiness assessments, And on top of that, Greg attended countless events on behalf of the foundation and his alma mater. So, Greg, it's really been an incredible honor and a privilege to serve with you. I also want to acknowledge his incredibly supportive wife, Margot. We really can't thank both of you enough for all that you've done for us over the last 2 years. So thank you again. And as Greg said, we have a number of people in this audience that are worthy of mention. And so before we get into the business program and the business meeting, I would like to take just a few minutes and acknowledge a few people. As I always do, I'd ask you to hold your applause until the end, and then we can certainly give everybody that warm Illinois cheer. We have joining us this evening members of the University of Illinois Board of Trustees, current chair, Dr. Tim Koritz, current trustees, Ed McMillan and Jill Smart are here as well, and our newest trustee, Dr. Stuart King, is with us. In addition to our current trustees, we have past chair of the Board of Trustees, Larry Epley, is with us this evening, and then a number of past trustees, Roger Plummer, Judith Reese, Marjorie Sodeman, Dave Downey, and Jane Hayes Rader. Also expected to attend, I'm not sure if they're here, but we have a couple of former student trustees, Gretchen Winter and James Evanson. In addition to our trustees, we actually have 3 University of Illinois presidents in the room, so I don't know, that gives me great comfort, actually. So certainly you're going to hear from current president Tim Killeen in just a little bit, but his wife, Roberta Johnson Killeen, is also here. And President Emeritus Bob Easter is here with his wife, Cheryl. And President Emeritus Stan Eikenberry is here with his wife, Judy. Also in attendance, Chancellor Susan Cook is here representing our Springfield University. And, of course, our host, Chancellor Robert Jones from the Urbana-Champaign University, or Champaign-Urbana, whichever way that tilts for you. In addition to our current chancellors, past Chancellor Richard Herman from the Urbana campus is also here. And I also want to take a second and acknowledge one of my really good friends, our Emeritus Foundation President, Sid Misek, is here. And as many of you know, Sid has stayed in the community after serving the foundation for so many years. This is his 18th annual meeting, so Sid, we're glad to have you here as well. And as Greg already said, we have a number of foundation directors here, we have a number of foundation members here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't extend my welcome to all of you and thank you for what you have done, not only for the foundation, but for the University of Illinois. Additionally, I'd also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our facility host and great partner, Mike Ross, director of Krannert Center. Once again, we have the incredible privilege and pleasure of being in this beautiful Tryon Festival Theater. And as you know, I know many of you know because I've seen you in this building before, this place is home to operas and ballets and musicals and a number of wonderful productions. So it's especially kind of Mike to share this facility with us for our meeting. So thank you, Mike. And also, Mike, thanks, because since I have no musical talent, can't sing, can't dance, it's really a privilege being on this stage. So thank you so much. These opportunities don't come often for someone like me. And then finally, I also want to take a second and acknowledge my lovely wife, Shelley, who is here with us tonight. She's really the CEO of our family and does a wonderful job trying to keep me as organized as possible, and that is a full-time job. But in addition to that, and more importantly, has been a great mom to our 3 kids. So please join me in thanking all of the special people that are here, including yourselves. We appreciate it. So, as was said, this is indeed our 82nd annual meeting. And I think, as you can tell, this is not our typical meeting, or weekend for that matter. That's sort of stating the obvious. We're actually beginning annual meeting weekend with the meeting, when most of the time we begin annual meeting weekend with a social. So we're flipping that this year for a lot of good reasons. There's also another twist to this year's meeting. There's no cost to this year's meeting. And that, again, is really to honor the launches of our campaigns, and we're going to talk about those in just a minute. So yes, this is definitely not a typical year. But actually, at Illinois, is there really ever a typical year? I've only been here a couple of years, but I think that's a safe statement. But let's think about who we are and what we do. The thing is, the University of Illinois can never be described as typical. It's that constant challenge to do more and be better that makes every year new, different, and world-changing. However, while change is certainly inevitable, and for the most part good, I can assure you that the University of Illinois Foundation's commitment to supporting the university system and our three extraordinary institutions remains constant. For more than 80 years, the Foundation has responded to the current needs and philanthropic priorities established by our university leaders. In doing so, we have had to adapt and really evolve as an organization to ensure that we are appropriately aligned with our university partners. Greg mentioned the governance review project earlier that we undertook this year. That review and the revised bylaws reflect the evolution of our organization and its current state. A lot of work went into that. We talked a lot about governance, but that's all I'm going to say about governance. Tonight, really the truth is that we're here because of you and your long-standing support, and that's what we're going to celebrate. Because of you and your kind and generous investments in the University of Illinois, we are impacting lives and societies literally around the globe. This is the point in my remarks where I have to refrain myself a little bit, because I want to say a lot of things and brag about this place, because I think we'd all agree it's easy to brag about this place. But if I do, I run the risk of stealing President Killeen's thunder. So I like my job. I want to be here a little bit longer, so I'll pass on that. But what I do want to say, and really say most of all this evening, is, and we can't say this enough, it's thank you. It's that simple. We're going to talk a little bit more about the University of Illinois and all that it means, and I'm going to let President Killeen discuss that. But I want you to know that the Illinois family is alive, well, and growing. We number in the hundreds of thousands, and we care deeply about the future of this world-class university. So thank you to all of you for making your annual gifts, your endowed gifts, and providing support for those programs that have impacted your life and your future. I think as we wander around our three university campuses, if you spend any time on our campuses at all, you'll see your generosity at work. So on behalf of our students, our faculty, our staff, once more, please accept my sincere thanks. So, we often at these meetings, we also talk about results, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that from my colleagues, and we certainly have a lot to celebrate, but every year we begin again. And as I said earlier, remember, at Illinois, we don't do typical. So after nearly 6 years, the University of Illinois is about to embark on the largest and most ambitious comprehensive fundraising initiative ever. Yes, the most ambitious ever. But at Illinois, would we have it any other way? Just 2 nights ago, in fact, we made a call to action to our Springfield alumni and friends to be part of the $40 million Reaching Stellar campaign for the University of Illinois at Springfield. Chancellor Cook and Vice Chancellor Jeff Lorber, thank you for your efforts as we've launched this campaign, and we'll be looking forward to hearing more about Reaching Stellar, the impact it's having, and of course your donors. And tomorrow we will invite our Urbana-Champaign alumni to get into the campaign spirit and invest in the future of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And since I've been sworn to secrecy, you'll have to be at the launch event tomorrow. I can't tell you what the goal is. I can't tell you what the priorities are. I'll leave that to Chancellor Jones and to Barry Benson, who are working very hard. Barry's our Vice Chancellor for Advancement, putting the finishing touches on what promises to be a great weekend. I'm hopeful that we're going to cap the weekend off with a victory over Rutgers, but I'll leave that to others to decide. Certainly then, as we launch here tomorrow, we follow that launch with the campaign roadshow continuing to Chicago. On October 28th, I hope you will be able to join us in Chicago as UIC celebrates the launch of their campaign with a day full of activities on campus and also illustrations about how philanthropic investments are helping to transform UIC. Chancellor Amarides and Vice Chancellor for Advancement Jeff Neerhoof are putting the final touches on their launch plans, and we hope you will join us. So as you've noticed, I've talked about unique campaigns. I've been referring to each of these campaigns as unique campaigns, not a single campaign. So that's a shift from the past as well. Those of you who have been here before remember Brilliant Futures, the campaign for Illinois. This time around, it's going to be a little different. Each of our universities has a unique campaign message platform, and all three of the universities are launching their campaigns individually. We really think about philanthropy being personal, and we recognize that you didn't graduate from the system. You graduated from one of these amazing universities, and we want you to feel proud about investing in each one of them. In aggregate, we will do great things. They are actually launching in the same month, and then when Chicago does launch, we will reveal a system goal, and altogether, these campaigns will be impactful and inspiring. The campaign case statements are linked to the strategic priorities that will shape our future. And I want to thank all of our university academic leaders for their input and leadership throughout the planning process. Our deans in particular have really been the major architects of this effort. I also want to thank our volunteers who have served on campaign planning committees. Your leadership has been instrumental as well. In our business, it's really important when we can marry up our donor and volunteer passions with our university strengths and areas of opportunities. We like to say that's where the magic happens. So stay tuned for the announcement of the comprehensive system goal. President Killeen will share that news after the UIC launch later this month. And while I can't give you that number either, I will tell you it's not simply the sum of the three campaign goals. That would be too easy. But what I can tell you, though, is throughout the public phase of our campaigns, we will celebrate and acknowledge the ways our unique universities cultivate knowledge, make innovative research discoveries, and provide life-changing opportunities for our students. And they accomplish all of this, a lot of this, in large part due to the philanthropic investments from donors such as all of you in this theater, those of you who are joining us via live stream, and the tens of thousands of other people who support this university literally around the world. At Illinois, our ambitious campaigns will be successful because we have an incredibly powerful combination of drive, capacity, and passion, coupled with three uniquely impactful universities that altogether are extraordinary. So thank you again for being here tonight for our 82nd annual Foundation Board meeting and for all that you do for the University of Illinois. Thank you. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the financial and endowment portion of the program. I know you've all been waiting at the edges of your seats to hear what the numbers are. And we're going to start the program off with Ellen Ellison and Christy Devasel. But I'd like Ellen to come to the stage first. She's going to present the endowment report. Ellen serves as our Chief Investment Officer for the Foundation. She has more than 25 years of experience in the financial sector, and she's been very busy rebuilding our portfolio for more than 4 years now. Ellen's going to review fiscal year figures related to our endowment performance. Ellen?
Thank you, Jim, and thank you all for being here. I'm delighted to have you with us this evening, and I am especially delighted not to be preceding or following Walt Knorr. It takes a lot of pressure off me, right? The markets aren't pressure. Following Walt, that's a hard act to follow. I will be reviewing the endowment numbers for the most recent fiscal year end. You have this information in your booklets and also will be on the slides behind me. First slide, please. Thank you. So this first slide really rolls everything up into a big top line all-in number of approximately $3.5 billion. as of the end of the fiscal year, and this includes both revocable and irrevocable gifts. Today, this evening, our focus will be the permanent endowment, which totals approximately $2.5 billion, and that's 3/4 or 73%, with the remainder being deferred. Next slide, please. Thank you. Why don't we drill down a little bit and really focus on the current and active portion of these monies. And you can see that a little over 90%, 90.5%, is in a pooled endowment. The other 10% represent farms, real estate, and other non-pooled assets. Next slide, please. Compound interest has been described as the eighth wonder of the world, and you can really appreciate that when you look at the long-term trajectory of the growth of this endowment, going back to 1989. This is why it is so important to use endowment to invest not only for today, but also to compound your important gifts along with investment returns for the future. The current portion is distributed every year to the university, and then the remainder is reinvested back into compound for the future. And we're very happy to inform you that this year there will be a lot of reinvested capital going back into the endowment. Next slide, please. The combined performance of the two pooled endowments was 14.1% for the most recent fiscal year. 7% was the required minimum break-even return, and that covers what we distribute to the units of the universities, pays the bills, and it also stays ahead of inflation. So that implies that a little over 7% was reinvested back into the endowment. Naturally, after two poor performing years, this is the year when a very strong year is very, very important. And I think of it as refilling the well after a particularly tough dry stretch. This return, for those of you who follow such scores like athletic scores, which it probably falls in the top 10% of all endowments in excess of $1 billion. So we're very gratified with these results. And we're working very hard to have these numbers roll forward, or I should say roll backwards in the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year number. We want all of those bars to be in positive territory, and that is our long-term goal. On the final slide, you can see that we have two different allocations in the two different endowments, but I'd like you to focus your attention on the big circle in the middle where they are combined. You can see the various asset classes in the endowment and the percentages invested. So going from largest to smallest, half of the endowments are in equities, around 52%. 23% of the endowments are in bonds or other forms of fixed income. 10% real assets, which would include energy, agriculture, and forest land. 8% in private equity, 3% in hedge funds, and 2% in farmland. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Ellen. As you can see, we are, as Greg mentioned, your foundation is in great shape. Your endowment is in great shape. Appreciate the good work, Ellen. I also want to, at this time now, introduce Christy Devasel, our Chief Financial Officer for the foundation. And as of today, as Greg mentioned, we had a change in our bylaws. Christy now serves as our board treasurer as well. Christy has been with the foundation since 1997. She oversees UIF's business development, strategy, and financial operations, including the ongoing development of and compliance with policies and procedures. She leads a team of responsible gift and real estate acceptance and administration, accounting and finance, information technology, information governance, user support, records, and human resources professionals. With all that, you probably wonder, what the heck do I do? So please join me in welcoming Christy Devasel to present the financial report.
Thank you, Jim. And Ellen, if you think it's hard to follow Walt, try doing it when he actually gave this report before. So thank you all. I am honored and privileged to be here with you this evening. As the Chief Financial Officer of the University of Illinois Foundation, I am pleased to share the Foundation's financial highlights from fiscal year 2017 encompassing the period between July 1st, 2016 and June 30th of 2017. So let's start with new business. As a reminder, new business is new gifts, pledges, written commitments, grants, and bequests. And if I could get the, thank you very much. Here we see the new business totals for the last 5 years. In fiscal year 2017, the university and foundation received $286.3 million in new gift commitments. This marks the 11th consecutive year that new business has surpassed the $250 million mark. Alumni were the most significant source of funding, with 30.5%, or $87.4 million of the fiscal year's total new business. Contributions from foundations rose to 13.8% last year to 20.5%. Corporations funded 16.1%, which is down a bit from the previous year of 31.5%, mainly due to a single large pledge that was received in 2016. The Friends category was up by a little over 4% for total contributions of $46.5 million. The remaining 16.6%, or $47.6 million, came from a variety of other sources such as associations and donor-advised funds. So now let's turn to the cash flow, which includes current income from outright gifts, private grants, pledge payments, annuities, and realized bequests and estate distributions. This graph highlights our cash flow for the past 5 fiscal years. Fiscal year 2017 brought in $278.4 million, which is our 5th consecutive year that cash has surpassed the $220 million mark. This past fiscal year, foundations were the largest source of our cash flow at 26%, or $72.5 million, followed by alumni who provided $63.9 million. Corporations, who held the #1 spot last year, contributed to 20.8%, and our friends contributed 12.1%. The remaining 18.1%, or $50.4 million, came from those other sources. The next chart outlines the university's priorities that donors chose to support the university with during fiscal 17. Research remains the top priority for our donors at $63.6 million, which is an increase of $2 million over last year. Facilities comes in next with $55.3 million, followed by funding for student support with $42.1 million. Funding for academic programs was next at $28.8 million, followed by public service at $11.4 million and faculty support at $9.3 million. Funding for all other purposes rounds out the restricted funding priorities. Unrestricted funding totaled $63.9 million, which is an increase of $4.3 million over 2016. Note that these gifts are restricted to a campus, college, department, or program, yet they are unrestricted as to how they may be used by the donors, or how they can be used by the donor or from the donor at the discretion of the dean or the unit head. Of the $278.4 million in cash flow received, 80.6%, or $224.3 million, was designated by donors as current use. These funds are intended to be used during the fiscal year in which they were given. Donors also designated $52.1 million as endowed funds and $2 million as annuity and life income funds. So, I know that most of you have been waiting through this scintillating presentation with bated breath for what presentation for the football predictions. Well, when Walt Knorr retired in August, his keys, codes, and passwords to the Blue Water Supercomputing Center were unfortunately also retired. The smarter people in the security office at the university knew what they were doing there. So therefore, you will all have to tune in on Saturday to the Illini win to get the exact score for the game. Thank you. So thank you all so much for allowing me to share the financial report. The University of Illinois and the Foundation are incredibly grateful to all of you. It is with your support that the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, Urbana-Champaign, Chicago, and Springfield are able to remain the preeminent higher education institutions that they are today and will remain in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. And again, as you can see, we are in great shape. We're very excited about the past year, but I also want to stand here today and tell you we're moving forward. That was the past. We have a great road ahead of us, and you're going to hear a little bit about that in just a minute. So I also do want to take one more second, just say, again, we have a great team. Greg mentioned it, Christy and Ellen, the entire foundation team, and we don't often get a chance to acknowledge them publicly, so I want to be able to go back and have my key work at my office. So team, we love you. Thank you for everything you do. And now, speaking of team, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the president of the University of Illinois System, Timothy Killeen. President Killeen has been with the University of Illinois for just over 2 years, bringing the system more than 3 decades of experience as an educator, researcher, and administrator in public higher education. In his tenure as the 20th president of the University of Illinois, he has led the development of a new strategic framework to guide the universities in Chicago, Springfield, and Urbana-Champaign. The roadmap he and his team have created aspires to make the University of Illinois a model for higher education in the 21st century, building on the rich Illinois legacy of service to students, innovation, and economic growth. Under his leadership, enrollment has reached new heights, and faculty are leading incredible projects from healthcare to cybersecurity, adding nearly $1 billion annually in research funding. President Killeen has forged important groundbreaking partnerships as well with the state of Illinois, partnerships that are absolutely critical to our future. Before joining the University of Illinois, Tim served as Vice Chancellor for Research and President of the Research Foundation at the State University of New York, one of the nation's largest higher education systems. His research accolades are also extremely impressive. He didn't want me to read all this, but it's pretty good stuff. He was elected to the National Academy of Engineering in 2007 and is a member and past president of the American Geophysical Union, a fellow of the American Meteorological Society and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. He's also a member of the New York Academy of Sciences. He's authored more than 150 publications in peer-reviewed journals, along with more than 300 other publications and papers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our University of Illinois President, Dr. Tim Killeen.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody. And I get to say this is the 3rd year in a row, on behalf of the entire University of Illinois family, notably our 83,000 students. My thanks to all of you for coming from far and wide to join us today and for your unwavering loyalty, support, and generosity. And just on a personal note, this is Roberta and our family's 3rd year here, and we're so grateful to have been such warm welcomed into your community. And it's an honor and humbling to be in this role. And I can promise you we will do our best for this magnificent university. As you already know, this is just another foundation week. But you're here on a Thursday rather than a Friday for the business meeting, and you've already heard that the kickoff event that pushed this meeting up a day isn't just another fundraising campaign, it's the most ambitious in our 150-year history. And you all know that this has never been just another university, and it's never set easy-to-reach goals. No small plans, indeed. This proud legacy of ambition and aspiration, my friends, is all because of you. You and the generations of supporters before you have helped make the University of Illinois system literally synonymous with excellence, with 3 universities that are all a cut above, not just one of the pack. And philanthropy has always been the fuel that has powered our rise to our place among the very best in the world. The generosity of our donors provides the critical margin of difference that drives this excellence, supporting student scholarships, which transform lives one at a time and families at a time, supporting world-class and brilliant faculty in all fields, and supporting pioneering research and state-of-the-art facilities that have made the U of I system a globally recognized leader in education, discovery, and innovation. It has been our edge as a single campus here in single campus, I should say, here in Urbana-Champaign or Champaign-Urbana. I also struggle a little bit with that. Grew into a system of 3 magnificent universities, every one of them best in class. They bridge the spectrum of higher education and fit every student's distinct needs. A land-grant Big Ten campus, an urban campus in a global city, and an intimate regional campus where everyone knows your name, and it's not in Boston. Together, they comprise our state's largest educator and pump nearly $14 billion into the Illinois economy every year, and reliably every year. Together, they transform lives on a large scale, with a record, as you've heard, of 83,000 plus students this fall, including nearly 25% of undergraduates who identify themselves as first-generation students. Think about that for a minute, the impact of that. Together, they are an ever-growing pipeline of world-class talent that sends more than 20,000 new graduates into the workforce every year to join a worldwide alumni base of more than 700,000 and counting. Together, they are a powerhouse of scholarship and a powerhouse of discovery that helps drive innovation, progress, and economic growth, with nearly $1 billion of annual research that ranks among the top university systems in the nation. Our three universities are clearly distinguished and excellent in their own right, but think about this for a minute. Altogether, they are extraordinary. Upon my arrival, I was told that the university system needed to do a better job promoting its excellence and impact, and many of you said this. Today, I'm here to tell you that we have listened to you, and we're about to do this. Our chancellors, our three wonderful chancellors, are launching fundraising and awareness campaigns, and at the system level, we are supporting them with a new marketing platform that we are calling Altogether Extraordinary. One more time, Altogether Extraordinary. Think about that. It captures exactly who we are, and it captures our profound impact on the public good. I will give a premiere in a minute of a video that will help illustrate our critical role in fostering an even better tomorrow with this in mind. The last 150 years have been an amazing ride and have created this truly remarkable university system. But as President Jefferson once said, I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past. So we're determined to build on the rich legacy of excellence that has grown from the seed planted right here in Urbana-Champaign a century and a half ago. Last year, as you've heard, we adopted a system-wide strategic framework, unanimously approved by our board, that is our roadmap to an even brighter future. It's centered on 4 solid pillars that define our vision: a bedrock commitment to students, first and foremost; expanding our research with global impact; marshaling our resources to foster prosperity for our state and our nation that surely need it; and making the University of Illinois system the model for higher education in the 21st century. No, we're not talking about climbing rankings. We're talking about being the model for the future. We're already on our way. Last month, we launched a $60 million program to help our universities hire up to 45 new superstar faculty over the next 3 years. Those exceptional scholars and educators who are our very lifeblood. And they will add to the incredible collegial capability that we already have in our wonderful faculty. We've also developed an initiative to increase system-wide enrollment over the next 5 years by nearly 15% to more than 93,000 students, without decrementing the excellence and the academic achievement of our students one iota. This will change the trajectory of even more young lives and will expand the pipeline of extraordinary talent that we produce. This is a goal within our reach. This fall, enrollment across our 3 universities increased by nearly 3% to more than 83,000 students, setting a system-wide record for the 5th straight year as most public universities in Illinois saw declines. Scale is important. It is important to give world-class education to many. That growth was led by a nearly 5% increase in Chicago, where enrollment rose to more than 30,500, a new high for the 3rd straight year, and for the first time, over 30,000. Enrollment also increased 3% to nearly 48,000 in Urbana-Champaign, setting a new record for the 7th straight year. We are also ramping up efforts to develop new educational and research partnerships, both at home and abroad, to better serve these students and the public good. And that includes a partnership with the Carl Foundation to create a pioneering new engineering-based College of Medicine in Urbana-Champaign that promises pioneering breakthroughs in treatment and equipment by integrating technology and data science into medical training and research. This is truly one of a kind. Our new strategic framework also sets a target for even more research with global impact, adding to discovery by U of I faculty and alumni that includes LED lighting, night vision goggles, plasma screens, a pioneering treatment for HIV, and the first graphic internet browser, and my personal favorite, indoor air conditioning. Our next wave of innovation is already in the works. In Urbana-Champaign, a new breakthrough promises truly global impact. In consort with our strategic framework, a research team led by plant biology and crop sciences professor Stephen Long has found that photosynthesis can be made more efficient, increasing plant productivity by 14 to 20% in field trials of their modified non-food plants. Their research now has turned into duplicating these gains in food crops and holds promise to increase production to feed the growing world. In Chicago, leading-edge discovery promises to save lives. A new $1.2 million grant from NIH will allow UIC emergency medicine physicians to test out a drug developed at UIC that mimics the effects of therapeutic cooling during a heart attack. Think about that for a minute. Body core cooling during or just after cardiac arrest can prevent life-threatening damage to the heart, but it's very hard to perform in the field or even in the hospital. This drug could potentially help save thousands of lives in Illinois and millions of lives across the country and around the world. Finally, the strategic framework reaffirms our bedrock commitment to students and to making the U of I system the model for higher education in the 21st century. Not a shabby goal. A goal reflected in a new first-ever student union that you, through your generosity, are helping to build in Springfield, and in UIS's pioneering leadership on online education. These frameworks' ambitions are extraordinary, just like the fundraising campaigns that we are rolling out this month. It's going to be a busy October, friends. History shows that all of these things are within our grasp. You and our generous donors of the past have always been exceptionally loyal and committed, pushing the foundation and the university past their goals in major campaigns dating back now to 1979. That includes Brilliant Futures, which topped a goal that had been among the most ambitious in the history of American higher education when it ended nearly 6 years ago. This time, we are launching 3 campaigns, one for each of our universities that builds on their unique identities, legacies, and aspirations for the future. While key priorities will be distinctive to each university, and you'll recognize them, they will share similar visions in fundamental areas such as support for student scholarships, for leading-edge faculty, and state-of-the-art facilities and programs. I was delighted to be on hand Tuesday in Springfield for the successful launch of their Reaching Stella campaign. All the students had these wonderful t-shirts, and the energy was amazing. That ambitious goal of more than $40 million set by Chancellor Cook and her faculty and staff is really setting the stage for that university to go to a completely new level. And it's such a beautiful campus. Excitement is building for Urbana-Champaign's launch tomorrow and the kickoff at UIC on October the 28th. And all of this work is underway. You may have seen some of the preparations on the quad. Once their goals are announced, we can roll up the campaign target for the system as a whole. These new campaigns are a product of months of planning and hard work by Jim Moore and his wonderful team, and the foundation has been a magnificent partner to the University of Illinois system. Obviously in collaboration with chancellors, faculty, and staff at our 3 universities and with our system offices. I'm deeply grateful to all of them and to all of you for getting to this position, to this platform that will set the stage for the future. And we're determined to reward your confidence and generosity by forging a new era of service to students and to the public good that will make you proud with excellence and integrity in everything we do. Our vision for an even better tomorrow is already in our sights, and thanks to the Foundation of Excellence that all of you helped create, and you should feel deep ownership of. So Isaac Newton described the view eloquently more than 3 centuries ago to explain his pioneering career in science. If I have seen further than others, he said, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So my thanks again to all of you for your support and for helping us weather the recent years and lifting us to the towering perch where we really truly do stand together. So now I'd like to introduce our new video. We call it Altogether Extraordinary. It's a premiere. It was shown in just quickly to the foundation board, but this is the world premiere. And I hope it gives you the same sense of pride that it gives me, reflecting on what the University of Illinois system, when you add all of the aspects of it together, is, has been, and will become. Please enjoy.
It doesn't add up, but it sure makes sense. This place has always outpaced its potential because we ask what can happen when you build an institution that can do everything. In what was once the middle of nowhere, or in the heart of a colossal city, or this guy's hometown. What if you do all three? 1 + 1 + 1 equals infinity. We're 700,000 strong. Actually, make that more than 1 million. And we're all after the awe-inspiring. Going higher than ever before. Deeper, too. Our volumes go up to 12 million, and we were the first to put them online. We put 1.2 billion videos on there, too. We kick open doors and lock down threats. We're all for Nobel causes. Cure for cancer? Let's stick a supercomputer on that. And while we're at it, put some of our smartest on diabetes and sickle cell too. Our ambition is never blind, but we make sure justice is, and he isn't, ever again. Made you look, made you laugh, made you cry, made you cheer, made you $14 billion. Made to do more for the state and the world all at once. Here's where we're headed. Put a stop to epidemics and injustices before they even start. The water crisis, the food crisis, the poverty crisis, the education crisis, any crisis. Here is where it all gets solved. And here too. Zero in on any one moment and you could miss the movement. Single us out and you can't see the scale. But step back. Because all together, we're extraordinary.
And yes, that is the tallest building in the world, and the blind can see. Thank you very much. My deepest thanks again for your loyalty and support.
Thank you. Well, President Killeen, Chairman Feldman, President Moore, and I thank you for coming to the 82nd Annual University of Illinois Foundation meeting. And now we're going to adjourn to the lobby for conversation, refreshments, and enjoyment. Thank you again for coming.